Hi 2D design students, this is what we're going to be doing today. You're going to have to access Schoology. You're going to find the 2D design course and then go in whichever folder pertains to your grade level. And then you're going to click on November 2020 and you're going to find the folder that says Thursday, November 5th. You're going to find a page that says Putting Perspective Theory into Practice. Go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to see at the top where it says View Attachments, you're going to find 12 attachments in this folder. Go ahead and click on the attachments and it's going to drop down for you and you're going to see a whole bunch of choices here. Okay. You're going to see a bunch of block setups. Each one is slightly different. But go ahead and look through them. I've set up a whole bunch of different arrangements because now we're going to be putting our theory of perspective into actual practice in more of a real life scenario. Okay, so go ahead and look through the pictures and pick one that speaks to you. Some are a little easier than others and some are a little bit more challenging. So go ahead and find one that you like. That one, as you can see, is a little bit more complex. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. And what you want to do is go ahead and save this picture to your camera roll. Okay, so if you go up to that little arrow in the top right-hand corner, you can actually save the image. Click OK. That way you have it saved onto your gallery and it's easy for you to access. All right, once you have your picture saved, you can go ahead and access in your gallery. I'm going to show you this just in Procreate just for the sake of demonstration, but you're going to be actually drawing this in your sketchbook, which I will show you in a second. I just want to take you through a few key points before we get started here. When you start to access your picture, and each picture is going to be a little bit different, the very first thing you want to do is kind of identify what kind of perspective are you working in? Are you in 2-point perspective, 1-point perspective, 3-point perspective? For example, in this picture, you can see that most of what I'm drawing is going to be in 2-point perspective. I'm going to start with a corner and be working where things are going to be going to 2 vanishing points. So anytime you're really starting with a corner, like here, 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 you're going to be working in 2-point perspective. You will notice that in this particular setup, there are 2 blocks that are in 1-point perspective because we're seeing the front and we won't be starting with a corner. So this block, for example, is in 1-point perspective, as is this one sitting down here. So before you get started on drawing, you need to identify what kind of perspective you're going to be working in. And it could potentially be more than one type with your setup. Right? After you've determined what kind of perspective you're working in, you want to think about where your horizon line would be. So, for example, in this example, I am seeing the tops of every single block except this one. Right? So I see the top here, 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 and here. This is the only one where I'm not seeing the top. What that is telling me is that my horizon line is somewhere up here. That way, that's how I'm seeing the top of things. So I'm actually looking down upon these structures, except for this one. This one, I'm looking at it much more at eye level, in which case my horizon line is going to be somewhere up top. Identify the place where my horizon line is going to be and what kind of perspective I'm working in. It's time to get started. One thing to note as we begin to draw this is I'm not actually going to draw my horizon line anymore or my vanishing points. I'm just going to use the knowledge of perspective to draw this structure in my sketchbook using a ruler. What I mean by that is just looking at angles and knowing the rules of perspective. So for example, where would I get started here? I would recommend probably starting at the bottom and working your way up. So for me, I'm going to start down here at this structure, and I'm going to start by drawing this vertical line. Right? After I draw this vertical line, things that I know for sure is that I need to get the correct angles for my bottom. I also know that because I'm working in 2-point perspective and not 3-point perspective, is that all my verticals will be perfectly vertical. They will not be going to a third vanishing point. They will all mimic and be parallel to this corner line that I drew. Once I've done that, then I have to imagine what the bottom of this is going to look like. Even though it is being blocked by this block here that is in 1 point, I know that these 2 lines here are also going to be parallel to each other. Same with here. These 2 lines are going to be parallel. Right? How do I draw this back line? It has to be parallel to this line. Okay? So even though I can't see it, I know what it looks like, and then this line here and this line here also are going to be parallel, in which case I will erase eventually those back lines, and I will start by drawing on my box that is going to be in 1-point perspective. All right, let me show you what I mean when I'm using a ruler on my sketchbook. First and foremost, make sure you're actually referencing the picture on your iPad and really looking at it and understanding where angles go. The next thing you're going to do is identify your starting point, which I said I'm going to start right down here at the bottom, work my way up to the top. All right, I think you're getting the idea of how this is working. I'm going to work my way up to the very top, and then I'm going to add that block that's down here on the ground at the very end. Just making sure that when you're doing this, that you're getting the correct angles, that you're looking for where things, gaps right here where this corner is, making sure I have enough room to clear that. The most important thing is where you're starting with the corners, or if you're in 1-point perspective, starting with that square itself. Right? So pick a picture, get one completely drawn out. If you finish early before the class ends, pick another picture and draw that one on the next page.